Hello and welcome to Home with Sarah Jane. In today's video, I am sharing a rap and chat video. So I had asked some of you to send in questions if you had any for me, and some of you did. You delivered, so thank you so much. But I will be answering those questions that were sent in to me today as I wrap up our Christmas gifts. If you are new here, hello and welcome. My name is Sarah and I'm a homeschooling mom to two girls, ages 11 and 14. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by once again. I do really appreciate you. So in today's video, it's just like the thumbnail says, it is a rap and chat video. Now, my husband did want to take part in this video, but unfortunately we could not get our schedules together. It's been really hectic at work for him trying to get a whole bunch of jobs done. So he is unable to be here today to answer some of these questions. So if any of the questions were directed at my husband, I'm gonna have to skip over those for now, and maybe I can make a video in the future with his responses. But that's the Christmas season, right? Busy, busy, busy. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for sending in some of these questions. I did not really review them yet because I did want to give a more natural response, but I did just print them on out to make it easier. Now, I did want to show off my really cute wrapping paper before we started, and also mention that if you see any presents being wrapped in this wrapping paper, this is for my daughter, Bella. We do theme our wrapping paper to each person, and that way I don't really have to use any tags or anything. So anytime you see this one, this is for Belle. And then anytime you see this really cute Christmas dinosaur wrapping, that is going to be for Lydia. If you are interested in seeing a more in-depth video about my kids' Christmas gifts, I did record that back in November, and I will link that down below. It was part of my Christmas gift guide series this year. So let's get wrapping because I have a lot to do, and it is like December 20th. So let's go. Okay guys, I'm going to try and keep my answers brief, but if you've been on my channel before, you know that that's going to be a challenge for me, but let's get started. So the first question is, did your husband agree with homeschooling? Short answer is no. To give you a little bit more background on that is, no, he did not agree with homeschooling at the very beginning. He was actually really hesitant about it. We had many, many deep conversations about homeschooling before we actually decided to go ahead and do it. And honestly, a lot of his concerns came from the fact that I was working outside the home. I was caring for my father who was ill at the time. I had a lot of responsibilities. And he was just more concerned overall for me, on top of, are our kids going to get a good education? How are we going to socialize them? The common concerns when it comes to homeschooling. But I just told him one time, in one of our conversations, that this was something that was important for me to do. And this is something that I think is best for our family. And after I kind of just sat him down and told him how passionate I felt about this, he was like, okay, well, why don't we try it out for kindergarten? And if it goes well and we enjoy it, then we'll just continue on and just, year by year, decide if we want to continue doing it. Honestly, after the first year, I'm not saying it was always easy because it definitely was not, but after the first year, we were like, yeah, this is what we're meant to do. We are meant to homeschool our girls. We really loved it. For the most part, I enjoyed it. Again, there was some challenging times, but we knew after the first year of homeschooling Bella that this is what our family needed, and this is what we were basically supposed to do. This is how we were supposed to educate our kids. And ever since that first year, my husband has never once questioned whether or not we should homeschool. So I guess that wasn't a short answer, but no, at the very beginning, he didn't agree with it, but now he does, and he is so glad that we made that choice. I am so glad that we made that choice. It is probably the best decision I've ever made for my family. Okay, next one. How did you meet your husband, and was it love at first sight? Okay, guys. Let me answer this the easy way first, and that is no. It was not love at first sight, not even a little bit. Before I get into the story, let me just say that if you are sensitive to accidents or injury, I would recommend that you skip ahead or click out of this video because unfortunately, that's how our story started. But here it goes. So my husband and I were in the 6th grade. We were 12 years old when we met. And the first time I ever laid eyes on my husband was actually because he was involved in a car accident. So when we were walking home from school one day, he was riding his bike. A car did not stop at a stop sign and crashed right into him. And that's how I met him. I met him because I witnessed him get into a car accident. So I know that that's not the, fairy tale, the fairy tale meeting you guys probably all hoped for. But we remained really good friends for a long time after that. I mean, still to this day, obviously, I'm married to him. But when we were 18, he ended up proposing to me before we were even dating. So we kind of did that a little backwards too. But I mean, we had been friends for like 6 years at that point and really good friends. And then when we were 20, we were married, and we have been married for 18 years now. So that is the start of our story and a brief a brief explanation of how things went for us. But I know, guys, that one was not what you guys were expecting, I'm sure. But let's move on to the next one. What did you do before YouTube? I'm assuming that is work related. Like, what kind of work did I do before I started YouTube? Right before YouTube, I was actually just a stay-at-home mom that ran the house and homeschooled the kids. But prior to that, I worked in banking. So I worked at a bank for about 10 years before I decided that it was time for me to, be home. My dad ended up getting a little bit sicker, so he needed around the clock care. I was homeschooling the kids, both of them by this point. So we kind of decided that it would be best for me to just quit my job and stay home with the kids and take care of my dad. So I was in banking for a long time before I actually stayed home. Okay, next up is, what has been the hardest grade to teach in your homeschool? I wouldn't say it's like a grade specific. I mean, there hasn't been one grade that was harder than the other for me. When it came to teaching my kids, it was all about, planning, prepping, being able to adjust things as needed. But it wasn't grade specific. I do want to say that probably for my youngest daughter, I would say it was between 3rd and 4th grade was challenging, but it was more along the lines of, we knew that she was having some challenges when it came to reading and writing. So it wasn't, I don't want to say they were bad years or that they were like super hard years. It was just a lot of adjustment and patience in those years with my youngest daughter. But 3rd and 4th grade for my oldest daughter was fine. So, I mean, I actually found 9th grade kind of challenging for her, but it was more about adjusting schedules and finding the right fit when it came to curriculum for her. But there wasn't really like a terrible year or grade for us. Next one. What illness do you have? I heard in one of your videos you have an illness or sickness, and how does it affect homeschooling? Sorry if this is too personal. Because you're asking about my personal health, I don't mind. I will share my stuff, and that's not a problem for me. I just won't share, any of my other families. But for me, I have something called trigeminal neuralgia, and it is a chronic pain disease. It basically affects the trigeminal nerve, which is in your face, and it just causes like a really intense, it's almost like an electric shock or stabbing pain in your face. And for me, it comes and goes. It's not constant, but it is chronic and ongoing. Sometimes I'll have like months of no symptoms, and then sometimes I have an entire month of nothing but symptoms. So it's very sporadic, I guess you can say. But when it comes to homeschooling, I would say that the most challenging part is when I'm having, one of these episodes. It can be hard to speak because I'm moving, my mouth, trying to read to my kids, whatever, and that can be very painful. Sometimes it's even painful just to brush your teeth. So what I do to adjust that is I will in advance know what we're going to be working on subject wise. If we're in history and we're learning about the Middle Ages, I might find some documentaries or audiobooks that I can just pop on in an instant if I'm not feeling good. So it does take a little bit of planning and prepping because I do have a chronic pain disorder, but it hasn't stopped me, and I still don't regret homeschooling. So there's that. Now, when it comes to other illnesses, it's more like I do get migraines a ton. But I mean, the TN, the trigeminal neuralgia, is worse. I do have obstructive sleep apnea as well. And I just found out that I have high blood pressure only a couple weeks ago. So that is a new thing that I am dealing with, but that's okay. You know, these things come up, and I have been focusing on my health a lot more and my diet and trying to fit in more exercise. So I am on the mend, guys. No worries over here. Another question is, I noticed you use Christian curriculum. Do you teach Bible in your homeschool? And if so, what curriculum do you use? Okay, this one, I actually really like this question. So I use secular and faith-based curriculum in our homeschool. It all depends on what works and what I like and my kids like. But when it comes to teaching any kind of Bible, I don't use a curriculum, and it's not something I actually like to do during our homeschool day. So I don't think there's anything wrong if you want to add Bible or teach, you know, your religion in your homeschool day. But for us, I don't like for it to feel like school. I like for us to sit as a family and discuss these things all together. I don't like it to come from like a curriculum, if that makes sense. So yeah, so there's that, but I use both secular and religious or faith-based curriculum, but no Bible curriculum. Okay, what is your biggest regret about homeschooling? Ooh, I'm not really a regrets person, but I can say that I do wish that I would have given myself some grace at the very beginning and not try to overdo so much. In the very beginning, it was very challenging for me to like calm down. I felt like I had to do so much and I needed to cover everything. And honestly, I didn't. I put so much stress on our homeschool that I made it, it wasn't fun. Let me just put it to you like that. That first year was an adjustment period, but by the end of the year, I kind of realized what I was doing and I really had to make some adjustments, but I just wish that I didn't go so hard into everything because it just kind of ruined some stuff at the very beginning. How long have you been homeschooling? This is my 10th year homeschooling. So my oldest daughter is in the 9th grade. I've been homeschooling since she was in kindergarten. So it's been a decade and I cannot believe it. Why did you choose homeschooling? Oh my goodness, such a fantastic question. This could be like a whole video, but the main reason it was important to me to homeschool was because I just knew that my kids were only going to be kids for such a short amount of time, and I wanted to spend my days with them. I wanted to watch them learn and grow and be excited about learning new things. And, you know, I wanted to be there every step of the way. I probably sound like a smother right now, but that's not, well, I mean, I guess a little bit, but it's not like I felt like I couldn't send my kids to public school. It was more that I wanted to be there with them. I wanted to be the one to teach them. I mean, they're my kids. I wanted to be the one to be there. My husband, after that first year, realized that that's what he wanted too. He realized that he wanted to be able to spend time with his kids anytime he was home. So whether it was, you know, at 8 a.m. on a Monday and he was off, or, you know, on a weekend, he wanted to make sure that he was going to be able to spend all the time he could as well. So that's one of the reasons. There are many, but that's the main one for us. What is your favorite Christmas tradition? Oh my goodness, guys. I have so many Christmas traditions. I can't even think of them all right now. But a couple of them would probably be going and looking at Christmas lights, which is some hot cocoa, and spending time with the girls, you know, and my husband, just driving around looking at lights. I also like that we do the Christmas pickle every year, where we hide the pickle on our tree, and whoever finds the pickle on our Christmas tree gets to open the first Christmas gift. I mean, there's a ton that we do. I love watching all the holiday movies, and, you know, I enjoy all the baking, and, you know, there are just so many. But those are some of them. Those are some of them, guys. Oh, here is the one I'll probably end on because I don't want this video to be 5 million years long. But this one is, how do you keep expenses down? It seems like you spend a ton of money on the holidays. Okay. Guys, I know it looks that way, but what I spend during the holiday season, I budget out at the beginning of the year and I shop all year. I shop sales. I never pay full price for anything. And I'm not always using like our actual money to pay for these things. I do a lot of rewards types of things. Like if I'm paying for anything, it has to be on a card where I get something back. So if I'm paying my water bill, I use a card that I get rewards points on that I could cash out for gift cards or for cash back. I'm not trying to tell you how to spend your money or, or anything like that. I'm not a financial person like that. Even though I worked at a bank for a long time, I did not give advice on how to spend money, and that's not what I'm doing here. But there have been many years that the budget was so tight that we didn't have a lot of money for Christmas gifts or even sometimes for big fancy meals. So I had to plan, prep, and, really stretch the dollar throughout the year to make it work. I mean, there was one year that I literally put $10 every paycheck aside for 12 months just so that I could get Christmas presents. And that took the entire year for me to be able to do that, because it was only $10 at a time. So I use things like Fetch Rewards where you scan your receipts and get gift cards. I use Rakuten where they will send you, a check in the mail for shopping online using their site. I've used Swag Bucks where I knew that I wasn't going to have, enough money for a certain item I wanted to get. So I would go on Swag Bucks and I would, do surveys and things like that and cash out those for gift cards. So I know it looks like I spend a ton of money. Everybody's, holiday budget is different. There's some years that we have a little bit more and some years we have a lot less. But you know what? That's not the reason for the season. But for me, when it comes to using these reward systems, it's nothing that I have to go out of my way for. It's just scanning a receipt or using a certain card when I pay for things. It's nothing hard for me. It's things that are just kind of in my routine now. So I just like to kind of stack those rewards points up. And then when I see something that I want to purchase for, Christmas for somebody, I just cash the rewards out. It's not coming directly out of my Christmas budget. So that's how I'm able to get quite a bit of things for my kids. It does take planning and prepping and things like that. But it's not hard work. It's not like something that feels daunting all year. So that's kind of how I do that. So the answer to that question is I budget, plan, and use reward systems to help me cut expenses. That is it for today. I just want to say thank you so much, guys, for sending in these questions. This was a lot of fun. If you have any more, you can send them on over. Maybe I can make another video in the future. As always, thank you so much for stopping by. You have a great day. Bye.